Welcome to Lessons in Leadership. Steve Adubato with my colleague, Mary Gamba. Mary, let's talk about culture and leadership with our friend, Stuart H, who is Regional Managing Partner, Prager Metis CPAs. Stu, good to see you.
Good to see you, Steve.
Yeah, now, Mary and I think we have helped to create a culture, in quotes, I'll limit my air quotes, on our team. But we have a small team of 8 to 10 at any one time and a whole bunch of terrific freelancers. We think we've created a culture. First, what the heck does culture mean? And B, describe the culture that you and your team are leading at Prager Metis.
So culture to us, means essentially, I think the way that the team comes together. And what we've built at Prager, I think, even though being a much larger organization than you stated, there's this family feel there, and there's which everyone works together as part of the team, and I really feel that's created a terrific culture, a great place to work. I think people like coming to work every day, starting the day off on a good note. And I think it also means that when someone's having an off day, someone is there to pick up that slack and be there to support them.
Mary, jump in because I want to talk a little bit about creating and promoting culture in a remote environment. Go ahead, Mary.
Sure. When we talk about creating a culture, I would love to take a dive into coaching, mentoring, your approach to how are you coaching the up and coming leaders at Prager Metis when it comes to just getting them to buy into the philosophy, getting them to buy into that culture. Talk a little bit about your approach to coaching and mentoring others.
Sure. So you need to work closely with everyone. I think the key is communication, really striving for getting back to people, whenever possible the same day. It's not always possible, but whenever you can, trying to. And I think it's an approach to sort of taking the people and I think hopefully conveying to them the lessons that I myself have learned over the years, which is it's not always about the business and the clients and all of that. It's really about the people and being able to lead the people and communicate with the people and create those relationships with the clients, the people, and amongst the staff. And
Stay on that, Stu.
yeah,
Stay
sure.
on that. I'm sorry for interrupting. We've had this conversation about relationship building with Glenn Friedman, who was the first relationship we had at Prager Metis, and Lori Roth, the CEO now. Lori and I talk about relationship building all the time. And you and I, we've talked about this as well. How intentional is your are your relationship building efforts? Because some people keep telling me that it's organic. I don't buy the organic thing. I believe you have to be consistent and intentional in building relationships as opposed to they just happen. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I agree. I tend to agree with you. I think that you do have to, it is something that takes constant, follow up and follow through. And it's a constant sort of fostering of those relationships. And without it, no, I don't think it just sort of happens. That would be ideal. Although I do think in our world of Prager Metis, it does really feel natural, which is nice. It does not feel something that's forced upon you. So I
But
do.
Stu, intentional doesn't have to be artificial. Intentional
Sure.
means there's a reason why I'm reaching out for Lori. There's a reason why I'm connecting with Glenn or anyone on the team. You're being intentional, meaning you have a reason for doing it, but it's not always. Often it's about the other person and how you can be helpful and of service. Is that what? Because that's how I view it. How about you?
No, I tend to agree with you. I think that that you learn a lot from. I've learned a lot from both of those people that you mentioned,
Glenn and Lori.
and Glenn and Lori, and I like to take things that sort of they've instilled in me and be able to translate that to others, and hopefully maybe putting my own spin on it, making it a little bit about, what I've learned differently,
That's right.
over the years.
And also, Mary, that's about a culture of coaching and mentoring.
I was
Right,
just going to
Mary?
say that, and
All yours.
it got me thinking when it comes to your own leadership at Prager Metis, you have evolved as a leader. We have all lived through the pandemic. We have all grown as we coach and mentor others on our team. If you had to pick one major lesson that you have learned in your tenure at Prager Metis, what would that be? What is your greatest leadership lesson that you have taken away in your time at Prager Metis?
So I would say that my greatest lesson is, sometimes you can't immediately be reactive. You have to sort of sit back, sometimes take a deep breath. Even, the way I said before about, trying to get back to someone the same day. Sometimes you're better off giving it that day. You can write back to the person if it's an email or if it's saying, listen, I'll get back to you by tomorrow. So at least
That's right.
you're communicating and responsive,
That's
but you get to breathe and you get to digest and you get to think it over. And I think that, allows you to take a better approach to the situation. And that's happened many times. And that took me a long time to learn. I think it was something that right away you had a sort of a first reaction. And usually, I guess your first reaction was not necessarily always the best/right reaction.
It's so thoughtful what Stuart just said. He said actually taking the time to think. Could you imagine? I mean, and Mary knows that in my own leadership development, I react too quickly too often. Oh, there's a problem. Let's fix it now. And Mary will be saying things like, okay, what are our options? All right, I know what the option is. It's one option, my option in my head. That is weak. That's not great leadership. And so, as Stu said, getting back to someone and saying, listen, I really want to give some thought to what you're saying. Let me get back to you tomorrow by X, and thinking it through, brainstorming with other people, as opposed to thinking we have all the answers. Stu, before I let you go, one more quick question. Business development and leadership. We've talked about this a lot. It's critical to Prager Metis. It's critical to our operation as well. Business development, natural for most or a learned skill set?
So I think there are some that it comes natural to, but I think those who are successful have really found a way to kind of find, sort of what's unique to them, whether it be sort of their niche or their skill set, and they're able to take that and package it in a better way to be able to go out there and be successful with business development. So I think that's where we've seen the best result. I think that's where I've seen the best result in terms of business development, and a lot of it comes from, again, those relationships, because a lot of
That's right.
times those relationships are what leads to the business development.
Mary and I talk about that all the time. You cannot separate, in our view, relationship building and business development. They're not separate. They're tied together, as Stuart said. Stuart Mayer is regional managing partner, Prager Metis CPAs, our longtime partners. We're honored to do leadership, communication, coaching with a great team at Prager Metis. Thank you, Stu.
Thank you, Steve and Mary.
You got it. Mary and I will be right back right after this. This edition of Lessons in Leadership is made possible by the Buccino Leadership Institute at Seton Hall University, Prager Metis, Valley Bank, the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, the North Ward Center, Jingoli Construction, the New Jersey Sharing Network, Delta Dental of New Jersey, the Helix, Fedway Associates Inc., the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Choose New Jersey, and Seton Hall University, showing the world what great minds can do since 1856.
This is Mary Gamba. If you want more leadership tips and tools, log on to stand-deliver.com. That's stand-deliver.com.
Promotional support for this edition of Lessons in Leadership with me, Steve Adubato, and my colleague Mary Gamba has been provided by NJ.com, NJBIA and New Jersey Business Magazine, CIANJ and Commerce Magazine, and the Meadowlands Chamber and Meadowlands Media.